So, after spending a couple of days multiplying multi-digit numbers in decimals, we're going to spend a couple of days dividing multi-digit numbers. And we're not going to deal with decimals right off the bat. We're going to review how to do long division, and we're going to do lots of practice because you want to be really good at this. So, go ahead and take a look at the do now. And this is an interesting problem. These questions give you practice in a very important skill that you need when you are doing division. So, for example, for number 1, you're trying to figure out what number can I multiply by 6 to get as close to 23 as possible but not go over. Well, 6 times 3 is 18, that's good, but 6 times 4 would be 24, that would be too much, so the answer is 3. Similarly, how many times can I multiply 8 by to get close to 33? Well, 8 times 4 is 32, that's just under, that's good. 8 times 5 is 40, that's going to be too high, so the answer is 4. So I want you to go ahead and do the rest of these. So pause the video for a little bit, answer these questions, and then restart it, and I will show you what the answers are. Here are the the answers, and if you got something different, see if you can figure out why your answer is different. So there's a part 2 to this do now, and it has to do with how we represent money. And the thing about money is that it only has 2 digits after the decimal point, right? Because it represents cents. And as soon as you have 99 cents, if you have one more, then you're up to $1. So we never talk in terms of 3 decimal places with money. So oftentimes that means we have to round. So if you take a look at this first problem, we have $2.53, and we have this 7 in the thousandths place. So we have to use that to round here. So take a moment and round these numbers so you only have 2 decimal places, and we'll see how you do. So check out these answers and see if they are the same as you got. I just want to point out that this 7 bumped this 3 up to a 4 because 7 is greater than or equal to 5. And this 1 kept this 2 at 2 because it's less than 5. And that's how you decide whether to round or not. We're going to be dealing with money a lot as we do these division problems, so we'll get some more practice with that through doing those problems. Now check out the answers to the homework. And what I would do is pause the video for a second and compare your answers and try to figure out what you did wrong if you did get a different answer than me. And again, take a moment and see how you did. Alright, so now it's time to get into some division. So we're going to go over the steps for long division. It's been a while since you've done this. And just to start off with, we're looking at a problem, 168 divided by 14. So we write that in this long division format, and we put the 168 in what we call the house. You may remember that from elementary school. So 14 goes into 168, same as saying 168 divided by 14. So the first number goes in the house. So let's look at the steps to do this. So we take the number on the outside, that's the divisor, and we compare it to the first digit. Okay, so that's our first step, is to compare. And we find that 14 is too small, or 14 is too big to go into 1. So we can put a 0 up here kind of as a placeholder. And we're really asking how many times does it fit? And it doesn't fit at all into 1. All right. So then we include the second digit into it as well, and now we're comparing 14 to 16, and we ask the same question, just like we kind of did on the do now. How many times does 14 go into 16 without going over? And so again, we're asking, how many times does it fit? And the answer to that is it fits 1 time. Right, 14 goes into 16 just 1 time, because 2 14s would be 28, and that's too much. So we put a 1 there. And then this is an important step. You have to multiply. So I'm going to multiply this 1 times the 14, and that goes in that first row there. All right, once you've done that multiplication, then you subtract. And we'll see how that works. My writing is very messy. Actually, I'm going to write that again. Let's make that a little neater. Okay. That's a little bit better. So I'm going to take the 14 here, subtract it from 16. That leaves me with 2. And then I compare these numbers again. If I pick the right number here, this number is going to be smaller than 14. And clearly I did, but we still have to talk about this comparing like you did in the first step. So 14 doesn't go into 2 at all. So we bring down the next number, and that would be the 8. So we're going to compare again. And now comparing 14 to 28, and sometimes it works out well, correct? So as I compare here, I'm trying to figure out how many times does 14 fit into 28, and that actually works out pretty well, doesn't it? Because we know that 14 times 2 is 28. So I'm going to multiply and subtract, and this works out well. So for this problem, the answer is 12, and there is no remainder. So again, we're multiplying here to get the 28. Once we figured out what this number is supposed to be. All right, that's a very quick review of long division, and now we're going to do some practice. So we have some easier problems to start off with. So what I want you to do is pause the video, work on these, and then restart the video and see how you did. Okay, here are the answers. Here are the answers to the homework. little bit messy, but check them out. I would maybe pause the video and see if you got the same answers. Notice that some of these have remainders. Some of them worked out evenly, but this one, for example, the answer is 208 with a remainder of 1. This one is 2057 with a remainder of 1. This one worked out evenly. This has a remainder of 2. This has a remainder of 2, and this has a remainder of 1, and this has a remainder of 5. So sometimes it works out evenly, sometimes there's a remainder, and either one is okay. So let's next take a look at a word problem that involves division. So, 1 is sorting school newsletters. There are 9 classrooms in the 6th grade. Each classroom has the same number of students. He has 240 newsletters. How many newsletters should each classroom get? Okay, so he is dividing up the newsletters among the 9 classrooms. Okay, so let's see how we'd write that. He wants to take those newsletters and divide them amongst the 9 classrooms. Alright, so let's use the algorithm. Remember, the first number goes in the house. Like this. I'm going to start the process. 9 cannot go into 2, so I'm going to put a 0 there. How many times can 9 go into 24? Let's see, that's going to be 2 is 18, 3 is 27, that's too many, so we'll have to go with 2. And 2 times 9 is 18, right? 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract, we're going to get 6. 9 cannot go into 6, so we're going to have to bring down the 0. And 9 goes into 60, let's see, I believe that's 6 times, because 9 times 6 gives you 54. And that's going to leave us with a remainder of 6. And that's okay, so we can't divide the newsletters up evenly. We're going to have 6 left over, and again, that's okay. So the sentence we could write could look something like this. Let me think, so we can get this correct. Let's say each classroom received 26 newsletters. With 6 left over. So that's how you could say that in a sentence. Each classroom received 26 newsletters with 6 left over. So here's another word problem. I'd like you to pause the video on this one and give this one a try. Check out the answer to this problem. If I divide 9 into 225, I get 25. So that means Ray raised $25 each hour. And I did a little check here as well with multiplication. I multiplied 9 times my answer to see if I get my original number, and of course I do. Okay, so that's a quick review of division and a little bit of practice. There are additional practice problems in this packet that I want you to work on, and if you happen to finish those, and you can get started on the homework. And let me know if you have any questions.